start tonight's evening, we just want to make sure we introduce all of our guests of honor. So we'll have them come through, introduce each one of them, and then we'll eat some dinner, and then we will get on with the awards and all the fun stories. So our first inductee, class of 1971, Dr. Jeffrey Schoening.
So I'm here with Jeffrey Schoening, the class of 1971, honored here tonight as an inductee for his work on the football team, also in indoor and outdoor track. So Jeffrey, football first, all conference honors in 69 and 70, Boston Herald Class C honorable mention in both 69 and 70. What was it like being a member of the football team and being so successful?
Well, it was a pleasure to be on these teams. We had a great coaching staff, great bunch of guys. So it was just, it was a wonderful time, really. I wish I could say something with more controversial, but it was just a good time.
Is there any particular moment or any particular game, looking back on your football career, that maybe you remember more than others, and one that maybe stands out to you more?
I remember having a very good time my sophomore year at the Turkey Thanksgiving Day game. My older brother had won the Most Valuable Player award at his Thanksgiving Day game, and so I always compete with my older brother, and I, for some reason, was just playing with joy that day. It was the most fun game I ever played. And I ended up winning both of the Defensive Player and Offensive Player awards for that game. But I don't remember what I did. I just remember having such a good time playing that game.
Obviously, you did something right, winning the Offensive and Defensive Player awards, but
yes.
You know, that's it. Just in high school sports, it's really just playing for the love of the game and playing, and it seems like
Yes.
you just enjoyed your time. But switching over to track now, so in track, held the records in the relays in the long jump, 1 mile, and 880 races, and also we were a member of the indoor 1970-1971 track team that was a state champion. What was it like being on the relay team for that team that was a state champion, and then just being on the state championship team as a whole?
Well, it was important not to drop the baton yes. But otherwise, we had a great team. I mean, I think Dick Borden led off. He was the 50-yard guy in our team, so he could take the lead, and off he went with the lead. Paul Chase, as you know, won the 300, and it's a 300 split for each guy, so he just carried on from there. I was the third leg. I just had to keep the lead, which they built a nice one, and so that wasn't so hard. And then Jay, their fastest guy at this distance, was the anchor. So there was a certain amount of confidence with these guys, and just the joy of running.
Now, how special is it for you to be inducted on the same night that 1970-1971 indoor track team is also being inducted and enshrined in the Hall of Fame themselves? How special is it to not only be here representing as a player, but also for your team?
You know, it's been 45 years since I graduated from high school. I don't think much about what went on in high school. It's been delightful, really great to have a chance to reflect on what it was like in high school, playing in with these teams, with these guys. And then I'd forgotten that we'd been so successful, that we'd had such a good year. And I was surprised, very surprised, that I was inducted. My younger brother, Rob, got inducted 4 or 5 years ago. I thought, well, that's it. I mean, we're done in this family. And then, so this is a great gift to have both of these, the team and the individual honor. It feels like a gift, a great gift.
Well, congratulations on the honor, both as a member of that 71 indoor team and also as just a player in your own right in the football and track. So thank you very much for being with us, and congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Our next inductee, class of 1977, Mr. John Ingham.
Here with John Ingham of class of 1977, a football and track star at Dartmouth High. And John, a 3-year starter on the football team, a captain as a senior, first team all-conference. I saw in senior year you led the team not only in tackles, but was also a force in the running game, over 800 yards rushing, a bevy of touchdowns. What can you talk about, what was your favorite part of the game, playing both sides of the ball, offense or defense?
Oh, by far defense. I looked at defense as being the ultimate team sport. Everybody had to do their job. One breakdown and a touchdown could result. So when I got on the field defensively, that's where I excelled, and that's where my heart really was. But offense obviously was an important part of the game as well. But I felt like defense and the team spirit that we had, and that was unbeatable.
Now, is there any specific moment in your football career that maybe stands out to you, one game or one play where you look back and you say, hey, maybe that was the best play I ever made, maybe that was the best tackle I ever had, or maybe the most important? Was there any one play that jumps out to you, or one game?
That's a tough question to answer on the spot here. One game, one play. It was probably against Fairhaven. It was a mud bowl my senior year. We weren't sure. You couldn't tell what team was what because everybody was brown. It was a tie game. Somehow I had managed to score a touchdown. I don't remember how I broke through, but then I remember the announcer, it was one of my teammates, got credit for the touchdown because the announcer couldn't tell from our uniforms who got credit. And I remember not caring. It didn't matter to me because I remember my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, made a comment to me, didn't that bother you? And I said, not at all. It's a team sport. It doesn't matter who scores a touchdown. The team scored the touchdown. And I just always remember that. That feeling that it just didn't matter to me.
So maybe switching gears a little bit here from football to track, where track is, a sport. At the end of the day, the points add up, and it is a team sport, but it's largely based on individual performance. How was it being a guy who seems so centered around the team? How was it a transition to switch to a sport where it was really kind of about your individual performance, at least on the onset, and then turning it on later and combining the points for a team effort?
You're right. There is more individual effort, obviously, in track, but because of the way high school athletics are set up, the team, when you're having meets, it's important how the team performs. And I was participated in relay events, so obviously that's a team sport. But more importantly, you had a lot of downtime when you weren't competing in track. And at that time, you got out there, and rather than just sit there, you interacted with your teammates. You were out there rooting them on, yelling them, encouraging them. So you felt that you were still part of the team even though you weren't performing at that point.
So lastly, you were the D1 long jump champion. We have it 20 feet and 10 inches, so quite a jump. Any particular one single long jump that stands out to you, or one event that really stands out to you from your track career?
Well, that was the jump. There was I believe he was from Falmouth. There was a jumper who could jump about 23 feet pretty easily, and he would have easily beat me. He was a senior. I was only a sophomore at that time. I was thankful that the triple jump was scheduled at the same time as the long jump, so he was not eligible to compete for that event. Otherwise, I would have come in a distinguished second in that jump.
Hey, second, first, it's all great. Congratulations, John, on being inducted into the Hall of Fame tonight.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Representing Marlon Burns, class of 1980 in the Burns family, his daughter Amber Burns.
So I'm here with Amber Burns, the daughter of Marlon Burns, class of 1980, who couldn't be here with us tonight. But Marlon, a very accomplished basketball player during his time at Dartmouth High, a member of the 1,000 Point Club, 29 consecutive double-digit scoring games, averaged just under 21 points in his senior season, and all-conference all-star in his senior year. So Amber, what was it like having a dad who was so skilled in basketball himself? And you had mentioned to me off camera that you played basketball growing up. Was he able to teach you anything? Give you any tricks of the trade of how to be the best basketball player you could be?
Well, when I was younger, we would play basketball a lot. We'd just go to the park and play. And, I mean, his big thing was just be big. If you're big, they can't get around you. And obviously, he didn't really have much trouble. He was 6'9". So that was his big thing. And then when he did pass, I was playing basketball in college. And it kind of just made me want to play harder, practice harder and it gave me a drive. Because before it was like, oh, I like basketball, but volleyball was my thing. But once that happened, it kind of just kicked me into gear, and it really made me want to be a better player for him. Just because everybody knows he went to PC, he did really, really well, but then unfortunately he got ill and he couldn't play anymore. But he was just such a great overall player, and I've heard so many great things about when he used to play, and it just made me want to be a better player.
Now, did your father ever tell you about any maybe specific game where he really thought he was at his best, or a year where he really thought maybe he stood out amongst the rest, or has there been anybody here tonight that have maybe pulled you aside and said, hey, I remember seeing your father play and it was just a joy?
Unfortunately, he did not, but I did have a conversation with Steve Burgo, which was a very close friend of his, and he basically told me there has been multiple times where he would have practice with my dad, just play with my dad, and he was just unstoppable. His energy and his drive for the game on the court, you couldn't stop him. And I know there were multiple people who played with him at PC as well that went on to play pro ball that said the same thing. He was just a beast. There's really no other word to describe him.
Well, thank you so much, Amber, for being here tonight, and congratulations for your father's honors.
Thank you so much.
Our next inductee in the class of 1986 is Mr. Bill Peterson.
I'm here with Bill Peterson, class of '86, and Bill, really, hockey and baseball were your fortes in high school. And can you talk a little bit about on the hockey on the ice? Really, you were quite the sportsman, and winning a sportsmanship award, also winning a coach's award. How important was it for you to not only be about yourself, as you were a tremendous player, but also help the team and help make the team as great as it could be?
Well, I don't know that I really try to come across as a sportsman. I just think that's by nature. I was quiet. I was led by example, I guess. Not very vocal, but work ethic. Just that's the way I was raised and brought up, and had a coach that demanded that kind of work ethic and that kind of did not tolerate bad behavior, that kind of thing. So I think it just was natural. It came natural, and I really didn't have to work at it, but I did appreciate the honors at the time.
So as a defenseman, 25 goals, 29 assists, 54 total points in your career. It seems like a lot of scoring. I'm not much of a hockey guy, but it seems like a lot of scoring from a defenseman. Was it something maybe a little bit special that you had aside from other defensemen, or were you maybe just in the right place at the right time?
No, I did. I was aggressive offensively, but I took care of defense first. I love playing both ends of the ice, so I love protecting around the net and being aggressive. But I did like jumping up in the play offensively, and I played with a number of talented people while I was playing, so I think I benefited that way as well. John Sullivan, Todd Cusson, Todd Doyle, a lot of guys that were able to put the puck in the net and feed the puck, and so I think I kind of benefited from playing with a bunch of offensive players at the same time.
And any special moments that jump out to you from a really pretty storied 4-year hockey career? Any special games or anything that really jumps out to you that you think of, and when you think of your hockey time, you think of that?
Yeah, I had a couple. One of them obviously was we played in the Eastern Mass Championship state finals my sophomore year, 83-84, and we played Shawshene Regional and lost 5-3. We actually took a 3-2 lead halfway through the game. I got an assist on that goal, and it was just exciting playing. We played at Walter Brown Arena in BU. Just to get to that point, no team did it before us, and no Dartmouth team's done it since then. I was rooting for the team this year, undefeated during the regular season, and could probably get knocked out a little earlier than they hoped. But that was a real memorable experience. Was going up and traveling to Boston and playing in the finals. Maybe one other game I can remember where I think I had 7 points was against Wareham, and now I'm in Wareham. I raised my family in Wareham, so I kind of remember that game as well. Those are the two that stick out.
Great. And talking about that team, I know you mentioned this year's team. What was it like being a former Dartmouth High player and seeing the team have such success? What kind of feelings did that drum up inside of you?
Great feelings. I'm excited for them. Read the paper every day in Wareham. Looking forward to how they did the night before when they played, and really rooted for them to go undefeated, and rooted for them once they got to the playoffs or the state tournament to go deep into the tournament. Actually played with one of the assistant coaches, Derek. I'm losing it here. I played with the goaltender's father, Todd. Derek's was the father, and I remember running into him during the state tournament, and wished him luck. And they did really well the first couple games, and then ran into the team that eventually won at Hanover, and that was a good game. But I was really rooting for them all the way.
And so one last thing here, to bring in your skills as a baseball player as well, and your skills as a leader, a captain in both hockey and baseball. What did that mean to you to be, given the honor in both sports?
Well, I really, it was an honor, and I really, appreciated being honored that way because, again, I was not a vocal person, back then. Just, went out and did what I was told to do, did the job, and I think the recognition was from just, follow the work ethic in the practices and in the games, and just following through with what the vision of the coaches were, Tom McDermott in baseball and Coach Bob Hayes in hockey. And I think that's where I think the recognition and the captainship came from. I really didn't even make the varsity team in baseball till senior year, so to be named a captain in my senior year, having no varsity experience, was really an honor, and I think it just came from the work ethic and just leading by example.
Well, Bill, thank you so much for taking the time, and congratulations on the honors.
Thank you very much.
Our next inductee, class of 1988, Maureen Halstead.
So we're here with Maureen Halstead, class of 1998, and Maureen really a star on the field hockey field as well as the basketball court. What was your favorite sport at Dartmouth High?
My favorite sport in my heart would probably be basketball.
So in basketball, a member of the EAC All-Star team for back-to-back years, your junior and senior year, also EAC leading scorer and a Fall River Herald All-Star and a captain. So talk about some of your fond memories from the basketball team.
I just enjoyed all the girls I played with. I was fortunate enough to play with my sister, which still I have a lot of memories and hold dear to my heart. It was just coaches, referees, girls that I played with. It's made me pretty much the person I am today.
And then flipping over to the field hockey side of things, again, another a lot of accomplishments for you there. EAC leading scorer, EAC All-Star. You were on 3 straight championship teams, conference championship teams. Talk a little bit about how fun it was to be out there on the field as well.
Yeah, field hockey was a great sport. Once again, I got to play with some of my dearest friends and my sister. Coaching was great, and referees. I was fortunate enough to know Barbara Carrero. She was my physical education teacher in middle school, and she was one of our referees in high school, and she really plugged for me, and to this day I really care about her, and she's the reason that I got to go to Michigan State was because of her. So I would say between coaches, teammates, referees, everybody, they're still all dear to my heart.
And so between basketball and field hockey, is there one particular moment in either one of them that really still resonates with you today? One maybe game in either sport that you think back on and you say, hey, that was a great game, or that was really where I had the most fun in my career?
I'd say the most fun would be Sunday field hockey days. We never had to go, but we always went because we loved it. It was just to be together and play, and it was never a mandatory thing, but I'd say Sunday field hockey days with Frank and June Lack were probably my most memorable.
Great. Well, Maureen, congratulations on being honored here tonight, and thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.
Class of 1995, Miss Roanne Gregory.
So we're here with Roanne Gregory from the class of 1995, and Roanne, track was your sport 4 years, and 600 meters was your event.
Yes, it was.
So you really seem to do quite well. Class B state champion in your sophomore, junior, senior years in the 600 meters. Also in 1995, a Mass state champion and a New England champion in 600 meters. What was it about that race in particular that you really took to?
I had been training for a while with Mr. McCarthy on a fast start. I was generally, I think, looking back at it, I probably should have ran longer distances. So I went out fast and it worked out.
Now, track is largely a sport where the independent performances mean a lot. and to help build up to what the team can do. Now, you were a member of 3 indoor team championships. What was it like to help contribute in your independent events and help see the success in winning as a team?
We had a really close-knit team, and I was always a member of a relay team, and I think that bond of being on a relay team and then cheering for those friends, it was a great team atmosphere. It never felt like an individual sport, even though the actual race is.
So any specific memories, maybe any certain 600-meter race, maybe the state championship race or the New England championship race, does any one stick out to you as really the one where you thought maybe you did the best overall, or the one that maybe you're most proud of?
I don't really have anything like that. It was kind of a collective experience for me. It was great. The whole thing was great.
And I know you mentioned Coach McCarthy. Any other coaches that maybe you want to thank here tonight that helped you get to this level of becoming an inductee into the Hall of Fame?
I was also a soccer player. I played soccer in college as well as running track. And Mr. Poirier was a great coach and really inspired a lot of leadership for me. And Albert Porter was always gave me a lot of unconditional support and was very kind to me. So.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Roanne, and congratulations.
Take care.
Next inductee is a class of 1999, Mr. Tim Gasper.
All right, so I'm here with Tim Gaspar, class of 1999, a basketball superstar at Dartmouth High. Tim, where can we start here? Captain of the 98-99 team, Standard Times Player of the Year in 99, 1,000-point scorer, 21.6 points a game your senior year. Talk about some of your successes at Dartmouth High.
Well, first I want to start off by saying that if it wasn't for my teammates, they pushed me, every day on the court in practice. Basketball is a team sport, and without them, I wouldn't be here today. But my dad really helped me out a lot, pushed me on the court, and I wouldn't have the success without the coaches on my team.
What was it like having a father that was so involved in the program as well? Was it maybe a little difficult because you thought maybe you had something more to prove, or I mean, it seemed to come pretty natural to you when you were on the court, obviously with all the accolades we mentioned, but how was it like being so close, to your father and having him, really be in control of the team?
It was hard. I think he was a little bit harder on me. He expected a lot more of me, but that pushed me to be, to be a better athlete and teammate. In practice, I expected that. So, and I've been on the court growing up, on the basketball court with him he was 27 years at Dartmouth head coach. So I was on that court forever with him, and I was playing, and I was comfortable, so had no issues.
So, also a Boston Globe All-Scholastic team member in 1999. How important was it for you to not only be a great athlete, but also be a great student athlete and excel in the classroom as well?
Yeah, the teachers at Dartmouth High really helped me to, keep my grades up, and that was very important. Very important to my parents, and that, it passed down to me. Without the teachers helping me through that, I wouldn't be there. I'd be a Boston All-Scholastic.
And then finally, I'm sure you've seen, but recently the Standard Times has done their top 20 in each sport for the local schools over the last 50 years, and number 14 on that list is where you fell. So talk about being amongst the best 20 players the last 50 years at Dartmouth High, what that means to you and what it means, because you play with a lot of good players, and there's been a lot of good players that were before you and after you, but to be ranked so highly on that list, what does it mean to you?
It's a great honor to be on that list, top 20 in the last 50 years, it's a privilege, it's an honor. There's a lot of great people that were left off that list that could have probably been on that list, and, it's just a great honor, really.
Any final games or moments in particular that stand out to you when you think about your high school basketball career?
Yeah, the last game of the year, it was the league championship game. It was at Attleboro. That one will always stand out. We were down by one with about 2 seconds left. I mean, I remember it right now, like I'm playing, but I got fouled, with 2 seconds left. I was able to hit 2 foul shots, and we won the league for the first time, I believe, at Dartmouth High. So, that last game, really, I'll never forget it.
Great. Well, congratulations on the honor tonight, and congratulations on all your success.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And our last individual athlete inductee for the class of 2003, Mr. Corey Catelli.
Here with Corey Catelli, class of 2003, and what can you say about Corey? He pretty much was skilled in every sport that he played at Dartmouth High, and played a lot of them. Corey, what was your favorite sport to play? You were a baseball star, a football star, basketball, track as well. A favorite sport?
It's a close tie between football and baseball, really. I think my heart tells me that I like football the best, but the competition being a pitcher in baseball is something you just can't recreate. Because you have to be on every pitch. So that's something about, the football was great. It's more of a team game, but baseball was such a joy to play.
So let's look at football for a second. 2002, you're the Otto Graham Award winner, best football player in the area. You rushed for 1,024 yards, 15 touchdowns, and you're named a super team pick for the Standard Times, also an EAC All-Star. It was some memories from maybe that 2002 season where you really kind of, made your mark in Dartmouth history?
Yeah, sure. So I broke my hand, I think it was the second game when we played Voke, and so I had to set out 2 games. One of them being Stang, which is a big rivalry game, and the second one being Fian, which they had an undefeated season after they played us. So I actually didn't get the opportunity to play Fian, which is one thing that I wish I had played. But the game that sticks out the most to me is New Bedford game. New Bedford had a great team. We had a couple guys who I went to school with at middle school in Dartmouth that left to go to New Bedford, and they came to Dartmouth for the game. It was a night game, and it was a battle, total battle. I think we won by 1 touchdown, high-scoring game. I remember I scored 4 touchdowns, but it was really a team game where we had a really group of tough kids on that team, and we just brought it to New Bedford, and that was one of the biggest victories we had that season.
Great. Now also, I noticed that within your accolades, you also were quite the scholar athlete as well. You were a finalist for the Wendy's High School Heisman Scholarship Award, also a Boston Globe Scholar Athlete. Talk about how important it was to not only be the best athlete you could be, but also be the best student athlete you can be. A lot of people forget about the student part, but in high school, that's a very important part of the job. So talk about what that was like for you.
Yeah, I think it comes down to I was always a competitive kid. So whether it was in school or in sports, I kind of wanted to be the best that I could. So I think, on the athletic field, it's one thing to be a good athlete, but to prove that you can be as good of a student as well is always something nobody can take away from you. So I use my competition in athletics and in school. That was always a goal of mine, to get into a good college as well, and if I could, play sports in that college. So it was school first, sports second for me. I think that was the way I was brought up, and I just kind of took it as a challenge.
That's great. So quickly switching over to baseball now, again, another super team mentioned for you with baseball, an all-star multiple times, the career or single season saves leader in 2002. Talk a little bit about your successes on the baseball field as well.
Yeah, so on the baseball field, I wanted to be a good hitter, but I think I was a better pitcher, and I think the coaches saw that as well. So being a pitcher, I just loved being a pitcher, having to be on every pitch. It was truly mano-a-mano, you versus the hitter. We had a few good teams. My senior year, we made it to the state tournament and won a game, which was impressive for the team that we had. So we had a good group of kids. It was one of the years we played was an all wooden bat year, which a lot of people forget, which was a great experience to kind of go back to what baseball is at its core.
Sure.
Throw away the aluminum bats and play with wood. Great coaches, Coach Mack, Coach Donahue. We had a really good group of guys and good group of coaches that year. So, baseball is a game I love. I wish I could play more of, and same with football. But I now play softball and try to get at least some of the experience back.
Hey, good staying with the sports. And before we let you go, again, just talking about how you really were skilled in so many sports. Seemed like really anything you picked up you were good at. Basketball, you lettered in basketball for a season. You also spent time on the track field and were actually named the outstanding newcomer. So what was it like for you? Just kind of seemed like maybe anything you did, really, it just kind of worked out well for you.
Well, I wish basketball worked out better for me. I think my final year I wanted to focus on football because I knew I was going to play football in college. So I moved into track so I could bulk up a little bit, and I actually started high jumping. And I turned out, I think in my own opinion, I was impressed with my high jumping ability. Other people might not have been, but I was satisfied with it. And a winning newcomer to me meant a lot because it meant that I could transition to another sport and actually be okay at it. So I think growing up as a kid, basketball was probably my favorite sport, but then I transitioned in high school to football and baseball, and then just to finish it off with track, it was just a lot of fun.
Hey, it didn't matter what sport he was playing, he was always at the top. Corey, thank you for the time.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your honor tonight.
Appreciate it.
This year's inducted coach is longtime hockey coach, Mr. Bob Hayes.
So I'm here with Coach Bob Hayes, being inducted tonight into the Dartmouth Hall of Fame after 27 years spent at the helm of the Dartmouth High School hockey program. Coach Hayes, maybe talk about some of those fond memories you have from your long tenure as a head coach.
Well, there's a lot of memories there. From the very beginning to the late 90s, over 500 games, 27 years. So what would you like to know about? That's a lot went on during those years.
Well, talk about maybe, I know in 2000 you were inducted into the Massachusetts State Hockey Coaches Hall of Fame, so that must have been a thrill for you, but talk about maybe being inducted into the Dartmouth Hall of Fame now and credited for the success that you had and really, bringing that program to what it is now.
Well, we had our ups and downs. We had a really big year in 1984 when we were in the finals at BU for the Division III state tournament. And we had some tough years where we didn't have that much talent. We had to struggle on through. So over 500 games, there were a lot of ups and downs. But it was all enjoyable. I liked it. You have to like it, not to do it. That kind of job.
Any special moments as a coach or any special players that you worked with in particular that, maybe you want to recognize here tonight that you think maybe helped you be the best coach you could be?
I would never mention any player because there were so many, and there were some obvious names, but there are other people who are anonymous who deserve to be mentioned. So, there's no one particular season. One year we lost 20 games. And Mr. Lynch said at the end of that year, he said, I think they were working as hard in the last game as they did in the first game. So, we won 20 in '84, we lost 20 in the mid-'90s. I guess that's not the point. The point is that we want everybody working hard all the time, and most of the time that happened.
Great. So you look at this year's success for the hockey team, went undefeated all throughout the regular season, deep into the postseason, eventually losing in the state semifinals. But talk about how that must have felt as a former coach and seeing the Dartmouth program live on and fight strong.
Well, I was very happy for Mike. He's a very good coach, but he's an even better person. Dartmouth is very, very lucky to have him. Special guy. So I was very happy for him. And he knows his hockey. He knows how to run a good practice. And he bore the fruit. They did a great job.
Well, Coach, congratulations on your induction tonight, and thank you very much for the time.
Thank you.
Representing the 1970-1971 indoor track team, head coach Al Porter.
So I'm here with Coach Al Porter. He's representing the 1970-1971 boys indoor track team that was Class C state champions. And Coach Porter, maybe your fondest memories from that 1970-71 team?
The most overpowering memory I have is of the relay team that won the state championship. Positively blew away everybody else on the track. And it was anchored by Jay Wilson, who had been 2 times state 300-meter champion, and in his senior year was disallowed in a trial event and was not allowed to run in the final. And our second string 300-yarder won the state championship, and then they all came together in the relay, and Jay Wilson was one upset young man. So all there was sawdust flying in the air when he went that stick and go, wow, that was probably the most overpowering memory that I have of that team.
And so Jeff Schoening also being honored here tonight for his time as a football player, but also as a member of that track team, and spoke with him a little bit about some of the memories he had of that team. And are there any memories of him? I know he was part of that relay team.
He was part of that relay team, is an integral part of that relay team, and he was an outstanding 600-yard, I want to say dash runner. Very strong young man, a world of courage. He got out there, he laid it right out on the track. He just is an outstanding athlete, and I've been very proud of him, and I told both of those young men tonight, I've been proud of them since the day they walked off the stage with their diplomas.
So you've had a huge hand in spurring the track and the cross-country programs at Dartmouth High. You've done a lot of work. You spent a lot of time coaching those teams. What is it like, seeing how it's really flourished and it's become a very successful program now? What is it like knowing that you were one of the people who started that program?
Well, it gives one a feeling of immense pride. There's no question about it. The only problem is I've been out almost 40 years, and I still have a proprietary interest in the team. I still feel like it's my team, and it isn't. But it's just...
Well, thank you so much for being with us, and congratulations on the honor.
Thank you.
And representing the 2004-2005 girls basketball team, head coach Jeff Hoyle.
So I'm here with Coach Jeff Hoyle. He's here representing the 2004-2005 girls basketball team that won the state championship for Dartmouth High. Coach Hoyle, what does it feel like to be here and be honored in such a way tonight?
It is quite an honor. I'm so happy for the kids, and I keep calling them kids. They're all young ladies now. It happened 2005 or in 2016, but I'm just very proud of what they accomplished, and it's well deserved.
So now, a little over a decade old now is that championship team, and you see some of these players coming into the event tonight. Maybe you haven't seen them in a while. What is it like? What kind of feelings are coursing through you right now as you see these players you haven't seen in a while?
It's a bit overwhelming, and again, I get to run into some of these kids through school or still coaching over in Dartmouth. I do a little soccer, and I'll run into them once in a while. Some of them I see at Coach Boudreau's house. He'll have a cookout, and some of the kids who are still in the area will show up. But overall, it's just a thrill to be able to see them again, because we went through, for those seniors, we went through 4 great years together, and they did wonderful things and set the tone for Dartmouth girls basketball. So I'm thrilled to be here.
So that 2004-2005 team, of course, state champions. And when did you know exactly? When did you and Coach Boudreau, get the sense that this team could be something special? Because I'm sure you had those girls for a couple of years. You knew what they were capable of. But did you know, at the start of the season that they were going to be a state championship contender, or was it something you learned later on?
We actually started the season off a little bit rocky. In all honesty, I will say it again tonight when I have an opportunity to speak, that I think we were successful because of our failures. We went to a tournament in LaSalle. It was our 3rd game of the year. We had won the tournament the year before, and we got beat by 30 points. We went to Bishop Fien, who was our big league rival, and we got beat. So we didn't defend our tournament title. We didn't defend our EAC title. We went on a roll after that and refocused, but last regular season game, we ended up losing a game to Coyle. So we were a little rocky, yet you knew we had the talent. And what the best thing is about this team is they're very resilient, and they kept battling back, and no one beat us again after Coyle. The rest of the ride was fun.
Perfect. So talk about some of the players maybe that stand out to you from that team, some of the senior captains that kind of led the way. You talk about having some ups and downs, and you always need to have those seniors that are ready to to right the ship and lead the way down the stretch?
Well, I guess you'd have to start with Lauren Goyette. During the regular season, Lauren averaged about 12 points a game. We get to the tournament games, she averages 20 plus. So she took on a great leadership role and really helped us pile through. You look at Tricia Gardner, who was our point guard. Sometimes we'd get in foul trouble. We'd have to learn to play without her, but she led the team in steals. She led the team in assists. She was a little gadfly out there and helped us out that way. We look at Ashley Cucci, kind of an unsung hero, played center for us, blocked shots, led the team in blocks, led the team in rebounds. Let me see, where am I on the list? Katie Vieira, role player for us, coming off the bench, but giving us senior leadership. And the last one, I guess, I have to mention was Sarah Gasper. What an amazing story she was. Broke her foot the first practice of the season, missed the whole regular season. So every game she played was a tense playoff situation, and she's the one that iced the championship for us by making 2 free throws at the Mullen Center. So she played 6 games all year and ends up with a state championship.
Awesome story. But thank you so much for being here with us, and congratulations to you and your team.
Thanks.
Before we bring up our inductees, just like to mention a few things about this evening. Some of you have taken an opportunity to come up and check out the table that we have here up on stage. Just want to talk about some of the things the inductees will be receiving tonight. Each individual will receive a plaque commemorating this evening and with the date of the induction. They will also receive a Dartmouth hat as well as a watch that is engraved with the Dartmouth Hall of Fame on it with our green and white colors. As well as each of the teams will receive a certificate of their achievement as well. So that's what we have up here for everybody. You can take a look, after the ceremony. I'm sure they'll be passed around the room. Couple of other things we wanted to talk about before we get going. You see there's a couple of bricks on the corner of each of the table, the corners of the table. We brought some with us tonight that are for people that are in the room. Jeff Schoening purchased a brick. His is up on that far left there. And we also have Lauren Goyette. So they purchased commemorative bricks as a fundraiser for the Hall of Fame this year. We were able to sell over 100 bricks that are going to go into the ground come July outside of the high school as a way for people to you can pretty much put whatever you want on those bricks as a memory to you. There's 3 lines available to you. So we did extend the deadline. We thought tonight may be a good opportunity as well for people who either weren't aware of it or wanted to take that opportunity. We did bring some brick forms, and we've extended that deadline to June 3rd if anyone changes their mind or are hearing this for the first time and you want to be a part of that. It should be a nice project outside of the high school and also a good way for us to raise a few funds for the Hall of Fame as well. So take advantage of that. Last but certainly not least, on the back table across from the watering hole there, we have some forms. If anyone has any teams or individuals, coaches, or supporters and friends of Dartmouth High School athletics that they think are worthy candidates to be in the Hall of Fame, we would certainly like to gather that information from you. So we did provide those forms on that back table. Please take one on the way out. We will not have an induction for 2 years, but we'll keep that on file and certainly review it at that time. We'd love to have the best possible candidates we can have each year so we can have a great class going in like we do this evening. So those are just a few things that I had to bore you with before we get started, but feel free to take advantage of those things if you choose. Well, welcome. It's been nice to be able to get this thing going again. As some of you know and some of you don't, it's been 5 years since our last Hall of Fame induction, and it's about time, I think, that we did what we did tonight, which was fill this room with almost 200 people. So I think it's a nice night. And it's certainly long overdue. So we would like to welcome you this evening. We have a great group of people that we're going to put in tonight. And if you just look at this half of the room, it's pretty much the 04-05 girls basketball team and all their families. So we thank them for coming out tonight as well. So we want to thank all the friends, family, and even children of tonight's inductees, as well as the Hall of Fame committee who are present this evening. I'd also like to have a shout out to Dr. Gifford, our superintendent, and her husband John for attending tonight and being here with us. So we will bring up each candidate. Each candidate was told that they have 4 minutes. We also are aware people traveled from far away to be here. I'm too nice of a guy, but I do have a couple of friends over here that at the 4-minute mark, I'd just like you to take a look over and look at Mr. Lynch. I think at the 4-minute mark, we'll all get the point that that's about time. If that doesn't work, we also have Mr. Shea. So around that 4-minute mark, if you could wrap it up so that everyone gets a good opportunity to say what they need to say tonight, we would certainly appreciate it. Without further ado, our first inductee this evening is Dr. Jeffrey Schoening. Yeah, go ahead. Give it up. Jeff played football and track during his career at Dartmouth High School. He was a starter and lettered in both. He received many honors and awards during his football and track career. In football, he was all-conference and all-suburban in 1969 and 1970. He was named the Boston Herald Travelers All-State Class C Honorable Mention in 69 and 70. And in track, he was a member of the 1970-71 Class C State Championship Indoor Track Team, being honored here this evening. During that season, he was a member of the Class C Championship Indoor Relay Team as well. He set a team record at that time for 600 yards. He finished second in Class C State 600 run, helped set a long jump relay record at the Class D relay meet, and he helped set a 1-mile relay record and the 880 relay record. That's an awful lot, a lot of numbers. Jeff and his wife, Myra, live in Seattle, Washington. I now present to you our first inductee, Dr. Jeff Schoening.
First of all, I'd like to congratulate all the inductees tonight. Secondly, I wish to express my gratitude to Dartmouth High School Athletic Hall of Fame, Mike Shea and Athletic Director Jeff Caron, all who are involved in this organization and this banquet, to the person who nominated me, or people, and those who voted for me for this honor. I was very surprised to learn of my induction, and I marvel at the commitment to excellence this organization represents. Being inducted motivated me to recollect my high school athletics, which I don't often do. So I'm grateful to this organization for this opportunity and honor. And for another reason, my younger brother, Rob, was inducted in 2011. Our father was in hospice at that time. Excuse me. He told me about going to this event, having a wonderful time, and seeing all the guys from the basketball team. He was in a wheelchair with his oxygen tanks and living it up. That was the last time. Does this count? That was the last time he went out, passing away 3 or 4 days later. I feel so grateful that he was able to go to Rob's induction, which meant so much to him, and have such a great time, which means so much to me. So thank you. Okay. To my parents and my older brother, I express my gratitude to them. My parents encouraged my athletic activities, from my father being a Little League baseball coach to both parents attending all my games and events. My older brother, Harry, was the quarterback of his high school football team, King Philip, and he recruited me to run patterns for him when he was in junior high. Also, he was the Thanksgiving Day most valuable player his senior year, which, because I compete against my older brother, mostly, inspired me to win both offensive and defensive player awards in my first Thanksgiving Day game as a sophomore. I should add, I was so relieved we didn't play when I was a freshman. I was on the varsity team, and the game got canceled because the Fairhaven principal had died. But I was very grateful. Well, I enjoyed playing that game more than any other. The downside is we lost the game, so it was bittersweet. I wish to express my gratitude to my high school coaches and teammates. The coaches, I was so fortunate to have such excellent coaches. These being the three I worked with the most. While they had quite different temperaments, they shared a dedication to their players and to their sports. They created an environment where athletes could thrive. So Al Porter, 5 seasons with Coach Porter, all for varsity letters. I remember him leading our training in the tunnel during bad weather, and his glee at seeing us run laps, with him sitting on a chair at one end of the tunnel to make sure we went the full distance each lap, and if we touched him, when we turned, look out. He did keep us in shape, and he taught us strategy. In the 440, I was to take the lead at the first corner and hold on for the rest of the race, and that usually worked. I also remember discussing mostly track with Coach Porter. And then Don Doyen, for 4 seasons with Coach Doyen as the line coach. My freshman year is a blur, but I do remember starting each practice with the linemen, doing the 7-minute sled with Coach Doyen standing on it. He would lead us through other drills, lose his voice at the start of training, and was usually willing to give us a rest by answering questions about our assignments and techniques. He wasn't amused when I leapfrogged a low-blocking lineman in practice drills. Outside of practice, we might also discuss local Beethoven piano concerts we attended. And then Carlin Lynch, 3 seasons with Coach Lynch. I got to see Coach Lynch bring a football program out of disarray with his arrival for my sophomore year. He introduced discipline, respect, fair competition for positions, a bevy of excellent assistant coaches, and sayings. My wife tells me I was still quoting Coach Lynch when we were first married, some 14 years after high school. I may have stopped somewhere along the line since she doesn't mention it recently. Plus, he gave advice about life. For example, what to look for in a spouse. And I wondered how he could catch a football with his bent ring finger. And I never had the nerve to ask. And also, I benefited from many it seemed to me like many discussions with the coach. And teammates, well, those inducted, such as Jay Wilson, Steve Turner, Steve Lunny, Jay Regan, Wayne Hamlet, Bob Lanzavig, and those not inducted, because we were together in our efforts, and without each other, none of us could have had any success. It's also, finally, to my sister Andrea and younger brother Rob, their spouses Bill and MB, and my nephew Connor for being part of this evening. And finally, best of all, being here is to see my coaches and teammates who I haven't seen in decades. I've been in Seattle. So thank you very much. It's been a terrific gift. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you.
Our next inductee, the class of 1977, Mr. John Ingham. John earned varsity letters in football and track during his 4 years at Dartmouth High School. He received many honors and awards during his career. He started for 3 years, was a tri-captain his senior year, first team all-conference in 1976, all-state Division II in 1976, and named the Harry Aganis All-Star in that same year. John also led the team in tackles, rushed for 832 yards, scored 92 points, and had 6.7 yards per carry. In the spring, John was the Southeastern Mass Conference Division I long jump champion with a jump of 20 feet, 10 inches. John lives with his wife Joyce in Ohio. They have 5 children: Patrick, Thomas, Sean, Brian, and Kathleen. I present to you John Ingham.
Thank you all. I can't tell you how wonderful it is to be back here in southeastern Massachusetts, with my wife Joyce. We consider this home, and we absolutely love coming back here, and we do so as frequently as we can. I want to thank the Hall of Fame Selection Committee for, first of all, inducting me into the Hall of Fame. It is such a tremendous honor to be included with the athletes that I've seen presented in the past and those being inducted today. Thank you for that. I'm also so humbled by it as well. I look back at my athletic accomplishments and I think they pale in comparison to what I'm hearing the others have done. Thank you, Mike Shea. I've done work like this before, putting together an organization. There's 200 or so people here. I can't imagine the work you and your team have gone through to put this together. So outstanding job. Thank you for that. Most of all, athletics, I thank you to my coaches. Every one of them at every sport meant something to me, and I recognize the dedication that they gave to each of the student athletes and the commitment. It was a sacrifice to them because time with us meant time away from their families. I recognize that as a young man, and I can't thank you enough. There's two I really want to highlight. One's not here, and that was Coach Rick Barry. He was my defensive backfield coach starting my sophomore year. The passion, the dedication, the enthusiasm that he had for the game of football was infectious. I loved football. I lived for football back then because of Coach Barry. But the man I really want to thank the most, and I have one of those fingers too, Coach Lynch, and it's because of football, is Coach Carlin Lynch. I got a phone call last July. I was out and weeding my backyard, which is over an acre. It's a pain. But the phone rang, and he said, "John, this is your old coach speaking." My heart warmed 10 degrees that day. I just couldn't believe it. We must have talked for 45 minutes on the phone. He was asking me questions about my family, relaying what he's been doing, and it made me feel so good to hear your voice again, and it brought back all of those memories to the forefront. Not that you were ever far from my mind. Just like Jeff had said, I frequently cited you all throughout my career. I spent 26 years in the Air Force. Frequently cited you in examples of leadership and mentorship. I can't tell you how many times I actually used your name when I was talking to some young officer or airman and trying to groom and make sure that they were on the right path to success. You led by example. You were a true leader. Before we get all mushy-eyed here, and I do have one short story, and it's not like Jeff's stories, and it probably explains why it took 40 years for you to nominate me, Coach. My senior year, it's probably late February, early March. I'm walking back of the high school with 3 of my friends, and I hear a commotion in the back corner. Do you remember back in the old high school in the corner where the training room was? Because there had been a fresh snow had fallen, about 6 inches, heavy wet snow had just fallen. Track team was inside, and they had to do the tunnels. That used to be so fun, huh? Well, I hear a commotion, and we turn around the corner, and there's a snowball fight going on. You remember this? Maybe he doesn't. I do. So there's a snowball fight going on, and what it is, the track team is about 12 of them are rushing out, grabbing snowballs and throwing snow at other students waiting at the buses or going to the cars in the student parking lot. So after sizing up the situation for a few minutes, I realized, they're just doing the same thing every time. They're rushing out, firing snowballs, and then rushing back in. So I just wait, and I've got a nice hard-packed snowball. I wait for that door to crack open for them to rush out. I fire a shot. And as soon as I fire it, I duck down behind a snowbank. And my joy at having thrown such a great shot was very short-lived because I heard this voice boom out. "Who threw that snowball?" And I didn't see it land, but those that did said it hit right here. So, Coach Lynch, I would bet a lot of money that I'm the only former player that ever pegged you with a snowball. Is that correct? In the Air Force, I joined the Air Force after graduating from college. I did it because I was looking for a team. I always enjoyed being part of a team, and that was from the years of playing football and other sports at Dartmouth High. The Air Force core values, integrity first, service before self, excellence in all we do, those are values that were instilled in me in Dartmouth High School and Dartmouth sports. So it became a natural fit for me to stay in the Air Force, and it's a career I thoroughly enjoyed, and I have you to thank for that as well. There are words that highlight exactly how I feel about coach, and I've used these in the past as well. I was looking at I was reading a speech by a corporate motivational speaker one time. His name is Dr. Bob Nelson, and he said, "You get the best effort from others not by lighting a fire beneath them, but by building a fire within." That epitomizes what you did for all of us and the thousands of student athletes that you've interacted with over the years. So I thank you, and I thank everybody for tonight. And God bless all, and have a safe drive home.
Our next inductee, class of 1980, Marlon Burns. Marlon Burns lettered in basketball for 3 years while he was at the Dartmouth High School. He received many honors during his time. He was a 1,000-point scorer in just his junior and senior year. He scored double figures in 29 consecutive games and scored 40 points against Barnstable in his senior year. Marlon averaged 20.6 points per game his senior year and was named Conference All-Star his junior and senior years. In addition, he was a Standard Times All-Star selection in his junior and senior years. Went on to play basketball, college basketball at Providence College, and most recently was named Dartmouth High School's best player of all time. Marlon has 5 children: Shannon Burns, Amber Burns, Caitlin Burns, Marne Burns, and Catherine Burns. And tonight, to accept on his behalf, is his daughter, Amber Burns.
Hi, everybody. My family and I have been joking for the last 15 minutes because I've been so nervous. I'm like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to say. But basically, anybody that knew my dad growing up he was huge. He was 6'8". I remember when we were younger, I remember there was one time I was in bed and he came in the room and he hit his head on the door frame because he was so tall. He played basketball, was an amazing athlete. It kind of instilled some values for my sisters and I because we were all athletes growing up. And we actually played in high school and in college. The one thing I always used to think was just be tall. I've talked to multiple people about his playing styles, and he was just so big that people couldn't get around him. So I remember when I would play, I would just be like, just put your hands up and they won't go around you. My family and I are just so grateful to be able to share this with our family, and it's so bittersweet because my father has passed on, and I just wish, obviously, that this could have happened sooner so he could be here, because I know this was something that he would have loved. We're just so thankful to the committee and everyone, and Mike Shea for helping me with getting everything in order. I don't really know what else to say. We're just so thankful to everyone, and just thank you for everything.
Our next inductee is from the class of 1986, Mr. Bill Peterson. Bill earned varsity letters in hockey, this is a small room, in hockey and baseball during his 4 years at Dartmouth High School. He lettered all 4 years in hockey, where he received many achievements and honors. In his junior year, he received the Coaches Award, Standard Times All-Star in his junior and senior years, captain his senior year, and recipient of the Jack Portlock Memorial Award for sportsmanship. He also played in the Hockey Night in Boston All-Star Games in his junior and senior years. Bill's career stats as a defenseman were 25 goals, 29 assists, and 54 points. In baseball, Bill played for 4 years and was selected as tri-captain his senior year. Bill currently lives in West Wareham with his wife of 23 years, Lynn. They have 2 sons and 1 daughter, Billy, Kelly, and Timmy. And I'll present to you this year's inductee, Bill Peterson.
I guess I'll try to project a little. Thank you, Mike Shea, for putting this together. I don't know where you went, but I really do appreciate this. Has been a phenomenal night. It's been amazing to see some faces that I haven't seen in years. I've been around the area, but haven't been in Dartmouth since I was out of high school. And it is great to see a lot of old faces. I want to thank the selection committee as well. It was, like some of the prior candidates mentioned, it was really an unexpected surprise to me, and I kind of feel similar to some of the other nominees in that I didn't really feel like my resume stacks up with the strong tradition that Dartmouth has and just some of the fantastic athletes that's come out of this town. I do think that this is the best town to play sports in as a high school athlete. The support that you get from the faculty, the coaches, the community, great town to grow up and play sports in. And I had the opportunity to watch my kids play up in a neighboring town and play against Dartmouth here and there, and it just brought back tons of memories. And I look back fondly on all the years I played at Dartmouth. I do want to thank my family. I want to thank my mom and dad, who my dad couldn't be here, but my mom's up from Florida, and I thank you, Mom, for just supporting me all the years and being at every single game, whether it was Little League or high school hockey. And I do, I think that support was critical in my, playing days. And I want to thank the coaches that I played for as well, particularly in high school. Coach Tom McDermott in baseball and Coach Hayes. And it's quite an honor to be inducted with Coach Hayes the same year. I really feel fortunate that happened that way and it worked out that way. Quick story about Coach Hayes, you don't have to cringe. I did, as Jeff mentioned, I did have the honor of playing in the Hockey Night in Boston tournament a couple summers in a row. And, when Coach asked me when he found out if I was going to play in it, I said, well, I'd love to play in it. It's, all the elite high school players in the state and an opportunity to get a little recognition from some college coaches. And so I just don't have a way to get up there. The tournament was in Stoneham, and it was over the summertime, and it was 10 trips up to Boston. And Coach Hayes brought me up 2 years in a row, 10 trips up to Boston. Probably took him 15 minutes just to get to my end of Dartmouth from where he was. And then the trip through, I remember sitting in traffic, driving on the expressway. And really, that just epitomizes the dedication that Coach Hayes had to his players. And I'm just ecstatic to be blessed with being inducted the same year as Coach Hayes. So thank you, Coach. And I want to thank my family as well, my wife Lynn, who's here, and my 2 boys are here. My daughter couldn't make it, but I do remind them once in a while when they both played. The 2 boys played hockey at Wareham, and I do remind them that I had a 7-point game against Wareham when we won 7-6. My wife was from Rochester, and I do remind her once in a while. It has been a long time since we've had this conversation, but I had a 5-goal game against Old Rochester as well. So. But I guess I'll end with my fondest memory from playing at Dartmouth High was getting the opportunity to represent the school and the community in the Eastern Mass Finals in 1984 up in Walter Brown Arena. Todd Doyle tipped in a slap shot that I had to put us up 3-2 about halfway through the game, and then Shawsheen Regional came back and won the game. But it was fantastic to get up and the Dartmouth community travels well, whether it's to Gillette Stadium for a Super Bowl or up for girls basketball in the finals. I mean, wherever there's a team representing the town somewhere in the state, we know that we travel well. And I just look back at that, seeing that stadium filled and playing, and never forget the feeling I had playing at Dartmouth High. So thank you again for recognizing me, and it's been a phenomenal evening. Thank you.
Our next inductee is from the class of 1995, Roanne Gregory. Roanne competed in and lettered in track for 4 years and played soccer as well. She was an outstanding track athlete who was recognized by local, state, and New England coaches. She was the Class B state champion, 600 meters in sophomore, junior, and senior years. In 1995, Rowan was the Massachusetts state champion in the 600 meter, as well as the New England champion in the 600 meter. She holds the Dartmouth High School record in the 600 meter and was a member of the indoor track championship teams in 1993, 94, and 95. Rowan lives in Kittery, Maine with her husband Ken. They have 2 children, Nora and Quinn. Present to you, Rowan Gregory.
Hello, thank you very much. I'd like to thank Mike Shea and the Dartmouth High School Hall of Fame Committee for their hard work in planning this lovely event. Where's Mike? Thank you. I'm very humbled and honored to be recognized and celebrated with the inductees tonight. Thank you. I'm very grateful to have a fantastic group of family and friends here tonight. Thank you all for coming. I especially like to thank my parents and my brother David for all their encouragement, support, and love both on and off the field. I'm also grateful for the camaraderie and support of friends, teammates, coaches, and teachers. I'd like to thank Albert Porter for his unconditional support, Joe McCarthy for pushing me hard, Dave Amaral for cheering me on, and Mark Poirier for being one of the best teachers I've ever had. I'd also like to thank Worth, Sue, and Maria for being here tonight too. Thank you. Both in college and in high school, I spent a lot of time in the fine arts department. It was the place where I could be myself and emotionally refuel. I'd love to thank the old guard of the Dartmouth High School Art Department, Gabrielle Giblin, Judy Baker, and Maura Irwin for nurturing my creative side and supporting both the arts and athletics. I'm also very fortunate to have grown up in an age where multiple sport participation, art, and unstructured play was the norm. This combination of arts, play, and sports helped me prepare for a rich, meaningful, engaged life. The arts taught me to imagine the unimaginable, to see beauty in nature, and to believe in my own voice. And participation in sports improved my concentration, developed valuable problem-solving skills, and taught me how to handle stressful situations. Maybe not this one, but other stressful situations. I'm very grateful for that balanced education that I received at Dartmouth High School and a family that supported and encouraged all of my interests, both sports and the arts. And I have 2 of my favorite junior Dartmouth residents here, Desmond and Avery, and I promise to support you and cheer you on the field or stage or anywhere as you get big. And before I walk away tonight, I'd like to thank my daughters and my husband. Nora, I'm in awe of your curiosity, bravery, and kindness, and Quinn, your spark and spunk make me giggle all the time. I love you both. And Ken, you're the rock of our family. Thank you for supporting my adventures, and I love you all. Thank you for coming.
Our next inductee, class of 1988, Maureen Halstead. Sorry, I said I was nervous earlier. 98. Maureen earned varsity letters in field hockey and basketball during her 4 years at Dartmouth. She was an outstanding athlete in both field hockey and basketball. In field hockey, she earned every honor that an athlete could possibly get. The honors include being selected as the New Bedford Standard Times Player of the Week in 95, 96, and 97. She was selected as the Fall River Herald Player of the Week in all 3 years as well. She was named an EAC All-Star in 96, 97, and a Fall River Herald All-Star in 97, as well as in the Bedford Standard Times. And in 1997, she was named the Standard Times Player of the Year and a Boston Herald All-Star. Her accomplishments included being the EAC leading scorer in field hockey with 29 goals and 11 assists, along with being the top 10 leading scorer in Massachusetts. Her field hockey team also won the league championship for 3 years. Maureen's basketball career was just as impressive. She was selected as the Fall River Player of the Week in 96, 97, 98. She was named captain of her senior year, and she was the EAC leading scorer 96, 97, 97, 98, as well as Fall River Herald All-Star in 97, 98, and EAC All-Star in 97. Maureen is married to Garrett Finch, and they have 2 children, Noah and Mia. Present to you, class of 1998, Maureen Halstead.
Thank you.
I didn't really put together much of a speech. These speeches have been great, but did want to say a few things. First off, I just want to say how honored I am to receive this award. My Dartmouth High School athletic days are some of my fondest memories. The friendships I made with teammates, coaches, teachers, parents, and even referees has made me the person I am today. The exceptional support from my family, coaches, and staff helped me to achieve my dreams and receive a 5-year full scholarship in field hockey to Michigan State University. I would now like to thank some special people that guided and supported me along the way. I want to thank Steve Gasper, June and Frank Lack, Jeff Hoyle, Darren Doan, and Scott Boudria. Thank you for teaching and guiding me both on and off the field and court toward a successful future. I want to thank fellow athletes Megan Halstead and Jessica Gasper for being the best role model and friend a girl could ask for. Special thanks to Barbara Carrero and Pat Hayes for being my advocate and always plugging for me. I would not have gotten the opportunity to go to Michigan State on a scholarship without your support. Lastly, but most importantly, I'd like to thank my entire family, my mom, my dad, my brother Michael, sisters Megan and Beth, my Aunt Mary, and my Vava, and many more for being my biggest supporters and #1 fans. I want to thank my parents for giving me the opportunity to follow my dreams no matter what they were. With that said, congratulations to everybody and thank you again.
Next up, class of 1999, Timothy Gasper. Tim played and led in basketball for 4 years at Dartmouth. Received many honors, most of which was the Dave Cowens Achievement Award nominee during his senior year. He was named the captain during that year as well. He was an EAC All-Star during 1997-98, as well as 98 and 99. He was also named Fall River Herald All-Stars for the 1998 and 1999 seasons, as well as the Standard Times Player of the Year in his senior year of 1999. That same year, Tim led the team in scoring with a 21.6 point per game average and was named to the Boston Globe All-Scholastic team. A 1,000-point scorer, Tim was rated 14th on the most recent top 50 players at Dartmouth by the Standard Times. Tim lives with his wife Jen in Franklin, Mass. They have 3 children, Jordan, Nicholas, and Lillian. Present to you, Tim Gasper.
A little nervous, but first I want to thank the Dartmouth High Hall of Fame committee for selecting me into the Hall of Fame. It's a great honor and privilege to be selected into the Dartmouth Hall of Fame in a moment I'll never forget. I had a great 4 years at Dartmouth High on the court and in the classroom. Playing basketball was an experience that I'll always remember, especially my senior year. Even though we didn't make it as far in the tournament as we liked, it was full of great memories. I would like to thank coaches Mr. McGonigal and Mr. Oswald. It was a pleasure playing for you. I would like to thank my teammates because without them, I would not be standing here today. Basketball is a team sport, and they push me every day on the court to get better. To my grandparents, who are not, who are not here tonight, but I wanted to mention them and how much I appreciate every single game during my 4 years that they attended. They were always the first to arrive, even before the team bus, and always sat across from our team bench. I still hear my grandfather yelling at the refs, and both of them cheering me on. Grandma and Grandpa, thank you. It meant a lot to me knowing you were there. To my mom and dad, thank you so much for everything you did for me. I now realize how much time and effort it takes to put your child through sports. You kept me on the right path on and off the court, and you were the main reason I'm here tonight. To my head coach, my dad, it was a pleasure playing for one of the best basketball coaches and players of all time at Dartmouth High, and the best coach I've ever played for. You might have been a little tough at me at times, especially the extra sprints in practice.
but I now realize it was to push me to be the best athlete and teammate I could be. The time we spent on the court will always hold a special place in my heart. I hope I can follow in your footsteps in teaching my children the game of basketball and supporting them in anything they decide to do. In the way you supported me. Dad, Coach, thank you. Thank you again, all. It's a great honor to be selected into the Dartmouth Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Might even need a second after that one, Coach. Our, our next inductee from the class of 2003, Corey Catelli. Corey was a three-season athlete as he competed in football, basketball, as well as track. He was an outstanding athlete and received many honors, especially in football and baseball. In football, Corey was team captain. In 2002, he was the Otto Graham Award winner after he rushed for 1,024 yards or 7 yards per carry. He broke a single-season touchdown record with 15, was named to the Standard Time Super Team, and voted an EAC All-Star. After his senior season, Corey was a Boston Globe Richard Phelps Scholar Athlete Award recipient and a Wendy's High School Heisman Scholarship Athlete finalist. In baseball, he was a team captain, EAC All-Star, Standard Time Super Team honorable mention, and the single-season record for saves in 2002. In track, Corey received the Outstanding Newcomer Award in 2003. Corey currently resides in Hong Kong, where he works for Morgan Stanley. Present to you, Corey Catelli.
Thank you. Thank you, committee. This is truly an honor. Congratulations to all the other honorees, and thank you everyone for being here. It was a long flight for me, so hopefully I had some time to type, so hopefully this goes well here. As a youngster, my dad would always ask me what kind of legacy I wanted to leave when I was gone. At the time, I didn't think I had a legacy. I was young and more concerned with the next game, in no way capable of predicting how my career would leave its mark, nor did I have any interest in even thinking about it. And maybe that's better, not to have gotten caught up in the narrative and imagine the impact of my accomplishments before they even materialized. Instead, take it game by game, whistle by whistle. Well, my thoughts on legacy changed instantly when I got a bittersweet letter in Hong Kong from Coach Lynch nominating me for the Hall of Fame. This letter was priceless. The most distinguished coach in the area had felt it important enough to honor me for my achievements. Sadly, though, in another sense, it marked the end of my athletic career. You don't get accepted into a Hall of Fame when you're at the top of your game. To be honest, initially I didn't think I was going to plan the event. I thought a 16-hour flight around the world for a weekend was going to be too difficult to stomach. But then the word legacy continued to bounce around my head. Coming here to receive this honor is not important to my legacy. It's a testament to those individuals who had a profound effect on me as an athlete and as a man. I'm here to pay respect to those people. First, to my family. My mom, you're probably the most athletic of the four of us, and without a doubt the most competitive. You never allowed me to quit and certainly pushed me in your own way. It was a funny story. When I was 9 years old, she picked me up at Rory Gardner's house. And on the way home, there was a running event, and they had a smile mile. And she said, "You're going to run it." I said, "No, thanks. I'm wearing jean shorts. I'm not going to run the smile mile." She said, "You're going to run it. You're going to win it." And I did. So thanks, Mom. In my jean shorts. Now my dad was my harshest critic, my most loyal ally, and my greatest coach. There was never a time he refused to have a toss or spend a perfectly good summer afternoon trapped in a batting cage. That may seem like a ironic situation of my former teammates and coaches because Coach Mack's not here, but he has the record book, and I hold the most KOs in Dartmouth history in a single season as a hitter. As a hitter, not as a pitcher. So I think it was 30 times in 30 games. Not good. My brother Jay, without a doubt, my biggest supporter. He rarely missed any of my games when in college. He traveled 2 hours to come see me at Williams, even for the first 2 years, when I basically just sat on the sideline and watched just like he did. So he even flew to Arizona to watch my spring training games. He was a champ. He's the best. My wife, Melissa, we got married 2 years ago. You're my new biggest supporter now in Hong Kong, so extremely lucky to have you. Thank you, babe. I also want to thank all my friends and family, a lot who are here tonight. You mean the world to me, so thank you for supporting me all those years. Being here reminds me that Dartmouth High School is one of the finest athletic systems in the country. As a student, I was surrounded by the best teachers, coaches, and teammates. A lot of who are here tonight, especially my teammates, thank you for coming. I want to thank Coach Lynch, Coach Mack, Coach Donahue, Coach O, Coach Moore was here tonight, who I actually forgot to thank at my autogram award. So thank you twice, Coach Moore. You probably don't remember that at all, but I do. Coach Lynch, who nominated me for this honor, I think it's, you're one of my greatest mentors. I can trace where I am today back to the days playing on the football fields for you. You were detrimental to my growth as a man and as a professional in my college career and in my professional career as well. So thank you, Coach Lynch. Also, I wouldn't be standing here with some of the greatest teammates. I got to thank my offensive line. Unfortunately, I don't see anyone in the crowd. If Eli was here, I would thank him a few times. And Cullen. But Sam, Rory, Justin, Joey, and Brett are here tonight. So thank you guys for coming. And thank you for being great teammates. To wrap it up, finally, to answer my dad's question, the legacy I want to leave is one of toughness, humility, and devotion. Toughness is mentality, a willingness and determination to never stop. It's not an attitude. I think that gets mixed up a lot. Humility, because you always have to be humble, because a man can only achieve so much by himself. Something football will teach you very quickly. And devotion. Surround yourself with people you trust, and make sure those people can trust you. So that's ultimately the legacy I want to leave. Thank you.
Our next inductee will be the recipient of this year's Coaches Award, Coach Bob Hayes. Coach Hayes was the hockey coach at Dartmouth High School from 1971 to 1998. During these 27 years, Bob created a competitive hockey program for the high school. He developed a program that allowed many athletes to compete and gain knowledge about high school hockey. Bob was inducted into the Massachusetts State Hockey Coaches Association Hall of Fame in 2000. His dedication to the school and the hockey program was recognized by the local community as well as many throughout the state. Bob currently lives in Westport with his wife, Patricia. They have 3 children, Bob, Sean, and Erin, and Bob also has 7 grandchildren. I present to you tonight's recipient of the Coaches Award, Coach Bob Hayes.
To say that Colin Lynch had a profound influence well, you try not to do things like this, is an understatement, and that's all I'm going to say, because I couldn't go any further talking about him. I want to bring attention to Mike Capello on a fine season he's had this year, him and his staff. Mike was a real boon to me in the latter years. Now, 500 games, 27 seasons, I said to myself, what do you say, So I decided to focus on 2 themes and how they apply to one game. And the first theme is never quit, never give up, never give in, play to the end. And there's an anecdote. In 1966, I was driving a school bus in graduate school, and I got into a couple of scrapes, went back to the yard, said to the boss, I think I should quit. I'm becoming a burden to you. And he's an ex-boxer, and he looked me in the eye and he said, get back on the bus. If you quit today, you'll be quitting for the rest of your life. And so I thought that was great advice. the kind of thing you want to incorporate into a program with young men. Sometimes when the wind blows with you, it's easy. When the wind's blowing in your face, it's a struggle, and you just can't quit. The second thing is do the best you can with what you have. Now that applied to me, that applied to my players. If you're talented, deliver. If you're not, work as hard as you can. The best illustration of this I can give is one game in 1974. We were 1-10-1 or something. We were playing New Bedford. They were playing for first place. We were in last place. We won the game 3-2. My wife said she was so excited, jumping up and down, she thought she was going to lose the baby. She didn't. That's Erin over there. Needless to say, after that season, there was joy in Mudville that night. And I was so excited I wanted to call Mr. Lynch. He was on vacation up in New Hampshire, but I didn't dare. Because if he got the phone call, he's going to say, what's wrong, So I brought the clipping. I just wanted to read just a couple of paragraphs from it. Sunday morning, when I picked it up, it reads, "The biggest Indian victory since Custer." And I'll just read a couple of paragraphs. It was the biggest Indian upset victory since Custer was surprised by Sitting Bull a century ago, and for the tribe from Dartmouth, their most cherished scalp of the hockey season. Frank Walker's goal at 1:48 of the final period snapped a 2-2 deadlock and lifted Dartmouth to a 3-2 victory over New Bedford High, knocking the Whalers out of first place in the Bristol County League. The fact that the Whalers were flatter than pancakes should take nothing away from the young Indians who out-bustled their heavily favored opponents for all three periods. Well, it's way back in 1974, but you don't forget things like that. So as the years pass, the seasons, they drift away into the mists of time, and you forget about records and everything else. But what you don't forget are those boys that played their hardest, did their best. That's good.
Now on to the team inductions. Our first team that we'll be inducting this evening is the 1970-1971 boys indoor track team. The 1970-71 indoor track team won the state championship with some impressive wins along the way. The team was coached by Al Porter and assisted by Coach Bob Simmons. The boys defeated the likes of New Bedford, Barnstable, Falmouth, and DY on their way to a Cape Way Conference championship. During the state championship meet, two-time state 300-yard winner Jay Wilson was ruled out of the final. However, the Indian second 300 runner, Paul Chase, was able to make the final and win the race. The last event of the state meet was the relay race. The team of Jeff Schoening, Dick Borden, Paul Chase, and Jay Wilson took the event easily, delivering Dartmouth their state championship. I'd like to introduce Al Porter, who will accept on behalf of the 1970-71 boys indoor track team.
Before I get into my prepared comments, I want to take a moment to recognize Mike Shea and Jeff Caron. They took the initiative to revive a moribund Hall of Fame committee. None of us tonight would be here if it weren't for these two gentlemen. Thank you very much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 2016 induction ceremony for the Dartmouth High School Hall of Fame. A particular welcome to those no longer young men of the 70-71 DHS indoor track team. Tonight's a strong reminder that you and your deeds have not been forgotten at your alma mater. On a cold February Saturday in 1971, you brought great honor to your town and to your school, to your families, and most importantly, to yourselves. You won a state championship. You were then, and you are still today, state champions. On your way to the championship, you also amassed an undefeated dual meet record, beating the likes of New Bedford High School, Falmouth, and Barnstable. You also ran away with the Cape Way Conference title. I salute you, gentlemen, and ask if you get a chance to meet with me for a few minutes to catch up. Some of you moved on to the higher levels of academia, some into the professions, and some into the armed forces. Some went into the workforce. I, your old coach, am very proud to have had the honor and the pleasure of sharing your high school lives with you. I should also like to ask at this time for Coach Bob Simmons to stand up and take a bow. He had a great deal to do with the formation of this team. Bob? Thank you, and enjoy the remainder of the evening.
And last but certainly not least, our second team of the night, the 2004-2005 girls basketball team. The 04-05 team won the Division I state championship with an outstanding group of young women. Jeff Hoyle was the head coach, along with assistant Scott Boudria and Michelle Alexandra as assistants. Team members: Lauren Goyette, Trish Gardner, Ashley Cucci, Sarah Pereira, Kate Vieira, Erica De Silva, Maggie McGlone, Michelle Smith, Amanda D'Souza, Caitlin Fury, Alex Clupp, Jackie Ladino, and manager Erica DeFranco. The team's record was a remarkable 25-3 with a tournament record of 6-0. In the state tournament, the team defeated Weymouth 53-41, Framingham 66-55, Whitman Hanson 65-56, Needham 57-47, Central Catholic 51-50, and in the final, Springfield Central 62-58. During the year, Lauren Goyette led the team in threes, twos, and free throws made. Caitlin Fury led the team in free throw percentage, while Ashley Cucci led the team in rebounding and blocks, while Trish Gardner led the team in steals and assists. I'd like to bring up head coach Jeff Hoyle to accept on behalf of the 2004-2005 girls basketball team.
First, I'd like to start by thanking everyone on the committee for this honor. Mr. Shea, I had the pleasure of coaching his daughter years ago, so it's nice to see him again. And I loved getting the call from Jeff Caron when he let us know about our team being inducted into the Hall of Fame. It made us very proud. Everyone's got their Mr. Lynch stories. Mr. Lynch is the man who hired me as a JV coach and hired me as a varsity coach, so I wouldn't be standing here today if not for Mr. Lynch and his willingness to take a chance on me. Short story about him, too, is we used to play at what's the middle school now, the old high school. When we were doing all the plans for the new high school, I was a middle school teacher. He'd still try and include me in what was going on. He showed me the plans for the new high school, and I asked him, where's going to be my basketball office? He says, you'll get a basketball office when you win a state championship. And never happened. I'd also like to congratulate the other inductees. I want to thank my wife. I could never repay her for all the sacrifices she's made over the years. Over 3 decades, I've coached in one form or another: basketball, soccer, volunteer, and so on. And she puts in all the time at home so that I can coach other people's children. And while it's my privilege to be invited to stand here and say a few words, I'd like to share this moment with every member of our team and our coaching staff. So when I call your name, I'd like you to come up here and stand with me. starting with my coaches, Scott Boudry and Michelle Alexander. And from the team, Katie Vieira, Sarah Gasper Pereira, come on up, Alex Clow, Caitlin Fury, Erica De Silva, Ashley Cucci, Amanda D'Souza, Jackie Ladino, Trish Gardner, Lauren Goyette. Michelle Smith, Maggie McGlone, Erica DeFranco, our manager, and a couple other players couldn't be here tonight, but we honor them too. And I'll just move on, and you guys get behind me. That way it'll be a great photo op for everyone if we do that. First, a bit of history. When I became the head coach back in 1996-97, I needed an assistant coach. And someone, I believe it was Steve Gasper, said to me, why didn't I ask Scott Boudria? I confess I had no idea, teaching at the middle school, who Scott Boudria is or was. And I was at the gym at the time, high school gym, and he pointed, like that guy who was out there running around with all the kids playing basketball. So Scott thankfully joined us. We had a great ride together. He eventually left me for his hometown Westport Wildcats, where he's doing an amazing job. His assistance was invaluable. His devotion to the kids and to the program unmatched, and we would not have had the success we had without him. Second coach, Michelle Alexander, she picked a great year to come join the team. First year with us was the year we won the state championship, and I often think she must have thought this coaching stuff's pretty easy. I've known Michelle since she was a young 8th grader. I coached her as a JV, watched her grow into a terrific young woman, coach and teacher. And words can't express how happy I am that she shares not only the experience of the state championship, but this moment with us as well. A head coach needs loyal and knowledgeable assistants. B, Michelle, Darren Doan, Rochelle Gadu, Scott Richards, Brian Jalbert, Shane Fennessy have all done an outstanding job with me over the years in building a program and keeping it on the road to success. And I think that's what Dartmouth Pride is all about. So I thank all those people who had something to do with this success. But tonight it's about this team. And what can I tell you about the 2005 Indians? I can tell you they had big shoes to fill. The year before, we had won what I believe is a school basketball record 26 straight games before losing to a tough Andover team at the Garden. I can tell you that we lost from that 04 team two of the best players and best athletes to ever play at Dartmouth High, and Jess Smith and Stacy Furtado. I can tell you that even losing two great players who accounted for about 34 points a game, that this team, standing next to me, progressed and became what would be the better team than the one that went undefeated for 26 games. That this group played hard, practiced hard, and they included scrimmaging against some of the best athletes, male or female, to ever play at Dartmouth High. Including among that crew of players who they scrimmaged against were some who went on to play college football, and a couple of them you may have heard even went on to play in the NFL. These guys would scrimmage against them. And I can tell you, the season didn't start off looking like we were a potential state championship team. Hard as it is to believe, as we are honored here today, this team had some early failures. Sloppy play, turnovers, we'd get leads, didn't always have the ability to hold on to them. Trishy had a tendency to get in foul trouble, hard as that is to believe. Sometimes 50 feet from the basket. It didn't help that the first day of practice, Sarah went down with a broken foot, and we lost her for the whole regular season. We won our first two games that year against Old Rochester and New Bedford, but our third game of the season, we traveled to Providence to defend our LaSalle tournament title. Needless to say, we didn't. At halftime, we were down 30-11. At the end of the game, Walpole, who was the defending state champs from Massachusetts Division II, they blew our doors off by nearly 30 points. We beat host LaSalle in the consolation game. Then we beat Durfee. Ed Collins on the Durfee game put in the Standard Times headline, "Sloppy but successful," which may tell you all you need to know about how we were playing at that time. After that, we lost our first big league test when Fian beat us by 11 in their gym. But that was the turning point. We were the defending EAC champs. We had just got beat. That helped us focus. Now it was a little more serious. After that loss, we went on to win 11 games in a row, including a 63-50 thumping of Fian to get a measure of revenge and satisfaction. And not sure, but in those EAC days, I don't know there was anything more satisfying than beating Fian. We were 17-2 and 10-1 in league. All we needed to do now, and they may grimace when I say this, to gain a share of the EAC title was travel to Coyle and beat a team we had defeated the first time by 33 points. We didn't. I don't think I've ever seen a locker room that was as devastated as that one in all my years coaching. And the 40-34 loss was our biggest failure. It was the last time we lost that season. Now it was time to build ourselves back up, take those failures and help turn the weaknesses into strengths. To this day, I honestly think that the staff, and especially these kids, many who had played together for years under Art Goyette and Paul Cucci with the legendary Bristol Stars, that we just didn't accept losing. I've said for years I hate losing more than I like winning, and I think that was true for these kids too. But losing does make you focus. It makes you focus on the little things. You can get bitter or you can get better. We got better. We succeeded because we were able to bounce back from failure. It drove us. For the seniors, the 5 seniors we have up here, they had tasted both exciting victories and tough losses over their careers. A loss like Brockton in 2002 South Sectional Finals showed us we had potential, but we weren't there yet. We needed to do more. A 2003 tournament upset loss at home to Franklin drove us. It angered us. It told us something, that we had something to prove. Perfection is not attainable, but if you chase perfection, you might catch excellence.
Jumping, Lauren Goyette raised into the air by Sarah Gaspar. That'll show you some strength. Wow. Oh, this team has been wonderful.
Well, there's not much more you can say as Tommy McDermott, the athletic director, handing out the ribbons and offering his congratulations to the players and coaches of the Dartmouth High School girls team. And now an official of the MIAA is out with the trophy as we look on at Lauren Goyette. Another big night for the senior Lauren Goyette. 24 points. She averaged 21 points in the state tournament during the season, averaged 12. What more can you say?
Unbelievable. Not known for shooting three-point shots. Comes into the tournament, she's got to be shooting like 75% from three-point land. It's unbelievable.
There's a look at Sarah Gasper and Amanda D'Souza, Rick Jalbert. Outstanding performer all season long. She got hurt in the final game up against Needham High School today. Banged up, playing hurt most of the game. A rewarding season for her too, I would imagine.
Here they award the runner-up trophy to Central.
That's Danielle Ethier out there along with Jody Hogan.
And their coach.
And now introducing.
Let's go to courtside to listen in.
Division I state champions, coach and captains of Dartmouth High School.
The place erupts, Jim Thompson.
Jeff Hoyle, Lauren Goyette, Trissy Caslin. There you are, folks of Dartmouth. Your girls basketball team is the Division I state champion.